Hindi ko alam bakit foggy yung salamin. So let's just remove it. Okay, let's talk about, oh my god.
Hello guys, good morning or good day. For this next topic, I'm going to talk about client-centered therapy by Carl Rogers. It's one of my favorite theories because it's very easy to understand. Oh, by the way, this is also known as non-directed therapy or person-centered therapy, client-centered therapy. It's by Carl Rogers. First, according to Carl Rogers, psychotherapy is the releasing of an already existing capacity in a potentially competent individual. It means that all of us already have the potential. Potential for what? For self-actualization. As you know, Carl Rogers is under the humanistic perspective, this particular theory. They believe that the end goal of each individual is to achieve self-actualization, which simply means the person reached his or her fullest potential. According to client-centered therapy, there are 3 sufficient and necessary conditions for this particular therapy. And this is all what you need for able to do this particular therapy. First is empathy, which means to convey a sense of being understood. And then empathy is never stated but conveyed, which means empathy, hindi mo sinasabi sa kanya yan, pero ipinararamdam natin that you empathize, putting yourself in someone else's shoe. Not in a literal way, figurative way. So, ibig sabihin nun, kahit hindi mo na-experience yung na-experience niya, particularly, you are trying to understand it. Kahit alam mo na hindi mo 100% na maiintindihan talaga. You're trying your best to actually understand what the person is going through. By the way, minsan, pag sinabi nating empathy, minsan, huwag natin sabihin na, uy, na-experience ko din yan eh. Usually sa mga Filipinos, for us, lagi natin ginagawa yan kapag nakikinig tayo sa problema ng iba. Uy, na-experience ko rin yan. Kaya, uy, dati, alam ko yan, naintindihan kita. Okay? Nangyari din yan sa akin. Guys, sometimes I know that the motivation behind it is good, but it's that kind of empathy is not helpful. First of all, kahit pareho kayo na experience, somehow, may similarities, it will never be the same. So, kapag sinabi mo na, naranasan ko din yan, exactly, you are contradicting yourself. You're not being empathic because hindi mo man lang naisip na hindi kayo same ng napagdaanan. Kasi kahit anong mangyari, kahit sabihin natin pareho kayong nanakawan, magkaiba yung experience. So, although similar siya ng situation, it's never the same. And one of the main goal of empathy is to not pretend as if you know what actually happened 100% of the time. Hindi kasi ganun eh. Pag sinabi natin empathy, just be there for the person, That I feel what you're feeling on the level that I'm trying to. But not exactly. But at least you're there to listen to a person who wants to be understood and wants to be heard. So, yun naman talaga ang focus ng empathy. Don't try to pretend that you actually know what happened because you were not there. And you have to understand that. Showing empathy is just mainly being there, your presence, your openness to listen to the person who's having troubles and difficulties. So, yun pa lang, sobrang halaga niya na. Next, we have unconditional positive regard, UPR. Sometimes people are using UPR, tapos hindi alam ng iba kung ano ba yung UPR. Those are 3 big words. Unconditional, positive, and regard. So, ano ba yung ibig sabihin nun? It simply means that unconditionally you're giving this person the highest benefit of the doubt, which means you're not going to judge the person. Okay, whatever that is, kahit ano man ang sabihin niya sa'yo, kahit nagda-drugs man siya, nakagawa man siya ng crime, or whatever that is, maybe the person is telling you something that is opposing to your beliefs, but if you're a therapist, kahit anong mangyari, kahit ano pang sabihin niya, you should always give your client or patient the unconditional positive regard. Hindi ibig sabihin na ina-approve siya na ang bait-bait mo naman. No, not like that. It's just simply means that you are not going to judge them harshly. Kahit ano pa yung sabihin nila. Staying neutral and staying on the good side of the person instead of focusing so much on what the person has done. Parang unconditional love din yan. Kahit anong mangyari, mahal mo pa rin yung tao. So, unconditional positive regard, kahit ano pang ginawa niya, tatanggapin mo siya ng buo. And you know what? I think this is something that is asked to each and every one of us. Kahit pa hindi ka therapist, kahit hindi ka psychologist, you're not in this field of psychology, just be a person who gives unconditional regard to people. Unconditional positive regard na kahit may mga tao that are really toxic and are really different from who you are, you don't judge them. You can stay neutral, which is the best way to go, and not judging the person, basically. Acceptance is given without conditions of worth. Now, yung conditions of worth, for example, mahal kita kapag honest ka. Mahal kita or tanggap kita kapag mabait ka. So guys, sa unconditional positive regard, hindi siya ganun. So no matter what the person is doing, again, you will accept them no matter what. Kaya nga unconditional, walang condition. Hindi morket napapasaya ka niya, hindi morket mabait siya, friendly. It's not about that. When you're a therapist, you should give unconditional positive regard no matter what to your client. And this takes a lot of practice and experience and wisdom. Because of course, lahat naman tayo, kahit pa you're in the field of psychology, lahat tayo may preferences, lahat tayo merong individual differences and beliefs about the world. Kaya nga, client-centered therapy, favorite ko siya, but I know that it can be a bit idealistic because ang hirap, tao tayo eh. And yeah, but of course, if you can, as much as you can, kindly give unconditional positive regard to people. No matter who they are, no matter where they come from, accept and love people. And of course, lastly, for the sufficient and necessary conditions is congruence, or a genuinely concerned therapist expresses real emotions or being genuine dun sa taong kausap mo. Just because you're a therapist doesn't mean you have to pretend as if you really like the person. You don't have to pretend about anything. Of course, don't be angry with your client, but you don't have to pretend about your emotions. When yung nararamdaman mo about your patient, your client, then you're free to express that, because the key to client-centered therapy is to actually show real emotions to your client. Of course, you have to be careful about the ethical conundrums, but still, as much as you can, again, express authentic emotions. Kasi maaari na kaya nga napunta dyan yung client mo sa sitwasyon niya is because yung mga tao pare-parehong plastic, hindi nagsasabi ng totoo, very toxic sila. So, therefore, congruence and being genuine is really important in the therapeutic process. I hope that you understand even a bit of it. Okay, that's the gist for client-centered therapy, particularly the topic about sufficient and necessary conditions. And thanks for watching, guys.